Kelvin Gastelum joining us now. Karen Bryan here, Dominick Cruz, Tyron Woodley, and the man of the hour. You are going to be squaring off tomorrow with Chris Weidman. You are in enemy territory.
Yeah.
This is a fight that you could say, Kelvin, is your toughest challenge to date. Do you see it that way?
Absolutely. You know, Chris is probably by far the biggest challenge that I have to date. And but you know what? This is why I'm in the UFC. These are the fights that I wanted since I got in the UFC. And it's just another step closer towards winning a championship.
No disrespect to you, Tyron.
No.
She had to do it. She had to do it.
And that's why Bisping goes off every now and then. No, but this is the thing. I want to know, how much did your matchup with Tyron actually help you for this matchup against Weidman?
Oh,
I don't weigh that
tremendously. Because, you know, I didn't make the weight. I lost my first professional fight. And, I mean, I was depressed for like 2-3 months. I don't know. But, you know, it helped me rearrange some things in my life and figure some things out in my life. It just made me a better person, made me a better martial artist.
You know, not to bring it back to me, but when I lost my first fight, I was 10-0 as well. I went through 3 months of being depressed, so I can understand that. But one thing we were talking about behind stage is that you seem to thrive when there's not as much pressure. If you're fighting in Brazil against Vitor Belfort, if you're fighting, you know, against someone that's a favorite to beat you, in this case, you're fighting in Long Island, and he went to school literally a 5-minute jog away from it. Does that take away the pressure for you to go out there and just perform?
Yeah, I feel like it does take away the pressure. Like you said, he's from Long Island. He's got his people here. He's got his wife. He's got his kids. He's got his family in front of his colleagues in his hometown. So I'm sure it means a lot to him to be here, fighting here. And I know he doesn't want to get beat up in his backyard.
Being 25 years old, you're young, man.
I didn't know he was that young.
You're on your way up, you know, to a title. You might already had one. If you didn't have a couple stumbles, you never know.
Sure.
But the point is, how do you plan on dealing with nerves facing a former champ at 185 pounds? How do you do it? What goes through your head on that walk to just know you are where you are, who you are?
Well, you know, people can say what they say, can say what they want, but, you know, I've worked hard to get here. I've worked my butt off to get to where I am, and nobody's ever going to take that away from me, you know what I mean? And that's how I feel.
That's what you're saying on the walk to the octagon.
That's what I'm saying.
Awesome.
Backstage, that's what I'm thinking as I'm walking. Like, no matter who's in front of me, I'm going to take them out.
So, Kelvin, obviously a big challenge against Chris Weidman is the wrestling. He is very, very good at that, and he pretty much takes down anybody he wants to. So, you have speed, you know, a speed advantage over him. Where does this, you know, shake out? How do you get the win over somebody as big as Chris Weidman with that dominant wrestling?
Absolutely. I feel I have the speed advantage, and then I also feel like he throws, you know, not sloppy hooks, but, you know, a little wide for my taste and a little slow. So I feel like I'm going to have the speed advantage. I'm going to have the footwork advantage, in my opinion.
So I got a quick question. The question that everybody want to know. You're fighting at middleweight. You're doing phenomenal at this weight. Is your goal to fight for a middleweight world championship or to come down and compete against me once again at welterweight? Let me get it out there because I know y'all thinking it. And I know y'all want to know.
We all want to know.
For sure. I mean, I have that splinter in me where you and I had a horrible experience that fight. I would love to run it back. I would love to make the weight. I would love to make it right. It's just not sitting in here right. You know what I'm saying?
I can respect that.
So you want to make the weight and you want to go down to 70 because it wasn't sitting right, but not necessarily because you don't feel great at 185. What if you're just great here and this is your weight and you just don't know it?
Absolutely. You're fighting it. True. I don't know. I mean, if I get the opportunity to fight Robert Whittaker or Michael Bisping, I will absolutely take it. But like I said, it doesn't sit right here in my heart, my fight with Tyron Woodley.
You'll have to win some fights at 70. If he's going to step in there for the strap.
I'll do whatever it takes.
You know, Kelvin, obviously you train at the great Rafael Cordeiro at King's MMA, but one of the stories floating around about you is that you're a guy that doesn't necessarily always look great in the gym, but on game night, you show up. So what happens to you, and do you feel that's a fair assessment of you?
I guess it's a pretty fair assessment. You know, at King's MMA, there's a bunch of killers. You know what I mean? And I get my butt whooped every day.
You ever spar with Dita? Andre Dita?
I took D-Wood down there, and Dita tagged him.
I did that this morning, Tyron.
That's one of Rafael Cordeiro's favorite students. So
for sure.
I'm sure.
But that's a fair assessment that it's, but something about your mind just clicks over on fight night.
Yeah, I mean, on fight night, on fight week, I can't be submitted. I can't be knocked out. I can't be touched on fight week.
That's why I had to ask what goes through his head, because you do show up on fight night every time.
Yep.
Absolutely. You know, I'd rather be, you know, you hear those guys that are monsters in the gym and they lose fights. I'd rather be the other way around. You know, I get beat up in the gym, I win the fight.
All right. Well, self-awareness is a beautiful thing, Kelvin. Awesome. Love having you up here. Thank you so much for joining us. Best of luck tomorrow.